60 days within 60 days of a preceding of a new year, to issue the complete voters register to the political parties. INEc has undergone a process of supplementary compilation of supplementary voters register. The questions have come whether INEc is ready and when the voters register or when the PVCs will be issued. INEc has an obligation. I think the political parties at this point have an obligation to demand those things. The political parties should demand these things.
If I have to cut you short, if you're insisting that INEc is determined to self-correct, now I want you to place INEc, compare the previous elections in 2011 with the one of last year in Osun State, and just look at what have they been able to do right in trying to save their face, or maybe make some modifications to some errors that they that marred the last.
There was the general acceptance that there was regularity of the voters register in Osun State. The election materials got to the respective polling units after the relevant notices of election had been given. The date, the time fixed for the election, the venue of the election, and the materials reached the polling units. And the time, INEc complied with the time for the election. And in fact, that can be seen in the aftermath of the election, which is to the end that there was, post-election litigation was minimal. Post-election litigation is normally minimal when there is general acceptance of elections as free and fair. And we have seen it in previous elections, starting with the 2011 election, which were substantial. INEc complied substantially with the provisions of the Electoral Act in ensuring a credible election under the administration of the present INEc chairman. And I think that we should give INEc kudos. INEc has done well. We should continue to urge INEC to do well.
You make a big word of this issue of INEC keeping to time. You and I know that we are Nigerians. We are concerned Nigerians. You and I know from the elections we've witnessed ever since we started our democratic system. There has never been a time where elections were shifted. Has there been any?
I think I would prefer for you to make your analysis, make your comparison based.
You seem to be hitting on the fact that INEC is keeping to a timetable system.
I'm insisting on the
as a basis for success.
Elections from 2011 under the present INEC administration. When I insist that INEC is making an effort to self-correct,
there are some very important issues, very fundamental, that INEC has not been able to handle. The issue of keeping to a timetable, there has never been in the history, ever since we started a democratic system from 1999, that INEC has to shift the date for elections. There's never been a time. So,
no.
And you would now use that as a basis to judge a success.
No, we're looking at the elections post-2011. And I've given you this relevant signpost. Look at the elections in Edo State. Elections were conducted, winners emerged, losers, there were also losers. But there was minimal post-election litigation. That's what I'm saying. The same was the case in Ekiti and Osun State. I think if you look at these elections, there is an indication arising from these elections that there is a signpost, and that signpost is towards ensuring credible elections.
So
you
what
cannot
is the
judge
problem with INEC now? Why is there this strong? Why is he believing that INEC is not? And indeed, why are there so many people who believe that INEC is not?
Your belief is squarely on the absence of PVCs, but there's a supplementary voters.
Okay, if I have to take you out of the absence of PVCs, you've not been able to give me a credible, answer to whether PVCs were conclusive or not conclusive. My position remains that the PVC distribution all over the country was not conclusive. Your statement earlier that there was an updated pertaining to your own and maybe some your locality and all that.
Yes.
I can state for certainly that the PVC distribution has not been conclusive. INEC has not released any statement. INEC hasn't stated anything.
I have alluded to
in the timetable that was stated, in the timetable that was published by INEC, there was nothing stated where no provision as to...
I've also alluded to other legal enablements. Nigerian citizens of voting age have other allowances to approach INEC and demand your voter's card. Where your voter's card is not available for any reason, for some omission by INEC, comply with the provisions of the law. There's enablement for these things. And until we have not, these are allowances which we have not used. You cannot say INEC is not ready. You have not approached INEC to say, I am eligible. I am applying for a voter's card.
So
as the law specifies.
INEC is now waiting to be told to do what it is supposed to do as a government.
No, these are allowances. I'm saying INEC having conducted or having distributed PVCs, it appears that there are deficiencies with the process. INEC has gone ahead to do a supplementary process. And that supplementary process is on. There's still the period for display of voter's card. And there's still the period within which these items can be collected. INEC is still within the statutory period of displaying.
So do you now, you said you embarked on the process of maybe updating your voter's card. You were affected.
Yes.
Have you obtained the permanent voter's card as we speak?
I will take the step. I will take the step.
You will take the step.
I will vote.
What then happens to where you are unable to do that before the publication of the voter's card?
You are making a preemptive statement. I think you are making a preemptive statement.
I'm not making a preemptive statement. What I'm saying is a statement for statement of fact. At this time,
you're raising the question. What happens if
this is barely a month, less than a month to the election. The election is February 14th, and we're still talking about PVCs. This should have been an issue in 2014, and we stamp on this to tell you that INEC is not ready for the elections. Right now, we should be bothered about some other issues as to security of the elections, how to deploy state security service and the Nigerian police, sensitizing Nigerians, sensitizing political parties on the need to keep to some certain and all that. That is what we should be talking about.
But those matters, we are saying, I'm saying that issue of collection of PVCs, it lapses at the time when voters register is displayed. And I'm saying INEC is still statutorily within the time. And you don't sound as if INEC as an institution is idle. INEC is working around the clock, doing everything to ensure that Nigerians are eager to vote, either to sustain the status quo or to vote for a new government. Nigerians are very eager to cast their vote. So I don't see INEC is not idle. INEC is not unconscious of this fact. I don't see INEC doing anything or acts of omission occasioned by them to disenfranchise Nigerians.
Another if I have to take you out of this PVC of voter's card, permanent voter's card, another issue or question I would like to ask you is on the Code of Conduct for Political Parties issued by INEC. You know, INEC is an institution.
Yes.
And they have come up with a code of conduct for political parties. Apparently, a document to aid or to enable the free and fair conduct of the elections this year. Now, we're looking at certain provisions of the code of conduct.
Specifically, which provisions?
Specifically, provisions relating to no political party.
Finances of political parties.
No political party. Let me finish. No political party shall use the apparatus of a state, the funds of a state, of the country, for its own campaigns.
So are you pointing
a
finger?
I'm not asking you. How do you think INEC will go about checkmating or ensuring that provision is enforced at this time? INEC is just an agency of government.
The issue of using funds of the state or the government, as it were, those are even matters within the Electoral Act. You look at section 91 sub 10. There's a statutory penalty for matters bordering on donation. No individual should donate more than ₦1 million. for the purpose of